Man, what's poppin', family? Welcome to Rosedale Park with Scotty V, and we back with another episode 5. And once again, I want to thank everybody for rocking with me, listening, watching, even for a second. Appreciate all the love and support I've gotten so far. And as you can see, my voice is cracking, so I'm getting a little emotional, man. I appreciate y'all for sure. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, follow all my links if you want to, and let's go on this journey together. Let's ride. You know what I'm saying? We're going to jump right back into it. On our last episode, we was talking about a few things, but um, accountability is a real trigger word I see. Uh, and for the few people that actually watched the episode, I understand how it could trigger a lot of emotions from everyone. You know, I don't really believe in this gender war we're having. I believe there's the have nots, those who can and those who can't. So I don't cater certain messages for just one side, but this podcast is to give a better look into the introspection of the man and a man, young men, boys, and even deeper, more specifically, black men. So I just want to give a little context about that accountability episode. It's for grown people to really receive and understand that we have and are accountable for a lot of things that we can't necessarily control. And I'm gonna go in a little further, but let's just start with what's going on in the world, man. What's going on in this country, more specifically, the United States of America. There's a conversation about segregation coming on and being beneficial for the country in its current state. And to be quite honest with you, I see great points from both sides. Those who maybe want segregation again, and those who think desegregation is the best thing that happened for us. And that, for us, I mean Americans. More specifically, my community has mixed feelings. Uh, that's 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 okay. I think we have been through a lot to where us separation from others may have positive effects, and us staying together may have positive effects. I think that going backwards, however, in the broad sense, is a bad move. I just think it is. I think that we've created these spaces to where we can all collaborate and create some sort of harmony within reason with other individuals of different creeds, colors, religions, ethnicities. We can live in harmony, some sort of harmony. And I think we should continue to fix that rather than revert back to what we know can really cause some pain and hurt to certain communities. You know, I base this podcast on being positive, so I'm only going to look at the positive. So if I have to pick a side, it's going to be to remain desegregated, and let's figure out how we can cohabitate with one another on this small piece of land that we have here. But as I said, man, both sides come with some very compelling arguments. The important thing is that we don't try to fix the solution by going backwards. We press forward towards the mark, and that's just what I believe. And with that, we know what's going on in the country as far as people getting deported. Um, to all my Latino brothers and sisters, Hispanics, whatever the proper connotation is, I do not want to offend anybody. We see what's going on. Um, the lawful and unlawful deportation of people. I'm someone that empathizes with a lot of what's happening because I taught a lot of new immigrants, um, people who are still waiting on their chance to become legalized citizens, and those who have not even bothered to start the process. So again, I see both sides. This is something that I really can't be positive on because there are so many different variables that have to come into play here. What I will say is the conversation comes between black and brown pride. I'm somebody who's lived with Latino people my whole life. And again, I loved my students when I was an ESL instructor. I took much pride in being there for them and caring for them, especially when these ICE raids begin to happen. And it just saddens me that these kind of things are happening to children, to certain families. And the prayers that I prayed for those individuals that want to receive the opportunity of citizenship in this country have been very thorough, long, and I wish nothing but success, happiness, and healing for those who are trying to do it the right way. Where does the black community stand? Where do I believe the black community should stand? It's just that support. Support for the country first. And support for people who are attempting to do right. Because let's be clear, all legal citizens ain't trying to do right in this country. But for those of us who are, it's okay to be empathetic. The black community needs to make war with anyone else. We got too much baggage and pain and destruction going on in our own community. So I don't think we're in the proper space to really help out anyone. There's so much dysfunction going on in my own community. I don't think we're in the proper space to help out anyone. That doesn't mean that people shouldn't be helped. Well, but we got to clean up our own backyards before we can step in somebody else's. And that's just a fact, man. We are struggling with so much. And that kind of leads me into my next topic. The 4C movement. The 4C movement. And brothers, come in. My African American, Afro American, black brothers, come in. And this doesn't exclude the rest of my audience. I want y'all to be attentive and lend a ear for me here too as well. The 4C movement is something that I'm thinking that we should adopt. And it's got nothing to do with decentering anything, but centering things that are important. Community, class, confidence, consistency. Young brothers, my young black brothers, brothers in my age, brothers older, the 4C movement is something that we all know. Those terms, those words, we've heard them. But what if we begin to condense what they really mean and apply them to what we want? And if you don't want certain things, if you only worry about self, this really ain't for you. Go get your money. Do what you need to do. But you either roll with it or get rolled over. Because we only pushing progress, we pushing peace. And a lot of other things. Provisions, protections for our community, for our country. We were born here, a lot of us. We'll have to figure out how we can excel. how we can come up, man. Like we gotta come up. That's another C, but I'll stick with 4C. The 4C movement. Let's start with community. Here we are at a crossroads. We're dealing with an economy that I'm hoping and praying will bounce back. But we have to deal with reality. And the reality is community is the one of the few things that can save us right now. You know, my mom asked me a question the other day, and it resonated with me because I never went off to another city, another state rather, other than when it came to undergrad or grad school, and stayed. And she asked me, do I regret not doing that? I love the East Coast. I love DC. I know New York. California's cool. I love the Northwest. I love different areas of the South, but I never really became an implant. Somebody coming from one state, moving to another, and starting their life there. I never did it, and to be honest, I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I wanted internally to build community where I was from because I grew up in a time where you knew your neighbors, you knew the kids in the neighborhood. You played city league basketball, city league football, pee wee, city league baseball. I mean, there was parts of the city, west side, east side, north side, south side. Like, I mean, it was a real thing back then. And you kind of had your affiliations. Not all of them were good. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of them were toxic. Some of them were dangerous. But nevertheless, there was always a sense of community. The further we excel, the further we get that bread, get the bag, it seems the less we want that back. Community. In this country, black affluence is going to be very important. It should be. Quite honestly, when you build roots somewhere, and I'm talking to my Texans, when I go back to homecoming, I say that if you're moving back to Texas, let's plant some seeds, man. Let's really grow some roots somewhere. That's how you create community. That's how when you have your children, young children at that. I know a lot of millennials have older children, but some of us are having young children right now. Some of us don't have children yet. Once you allow our roots to grow and they become intertwined, that becomes a safety net. And sure, bad things do happen in communities. But even when they do, we're interconnected. We're there for one another. We're creating that safety net, that shield that we need when things do go awry. And we see it work for other cultures with other Americans. So I implore the affluent blacks, let's start to build community. And it don't got to be with other black people. It's just where you stay. Be neighborly. Create those bonds. Block parties. And now the kind of block parties I grew up on, even though they were community. You ain't got to be standing out, doing your drinking, smoking. You know how we do. It don't got to be that. But that's fine too. But as long as we're creating positive bonds and planting those seeds to where we can look out for one another as Americans, as black Americans, it's going to be crucial. There are hard times ahead. The sun will come up, but let's batten down the hatches. Let's start to connect and build strong ties with like-minded individuals. And like I said, it doesn't have to be other black people. Those individuals who just want to succeed, who want to get by, who want their children to be safe, who want to live in a great neighborhood. You don't really need a gate when you have a community. And that's a fact. Second C, consistency. Another buzzword, man. It is necessary for greatness. But it is boring. We see the videos on some people feeling like consistency is so boring. And you need more spice in your life. You need more impromptu things to happen in order you to stay connected. And I'm not just talking about relationships, but those are important too. Because again, I am not perpetuating no gender war. But consistency is actually something we need for survival. And as men, and more specifically black men, we are going to need that in order to provide those essentials for our families, the families that we have, the families that we want to create, the families we're trying to bring back together. We have to be consistent. It starts with us. It starts with us. Consistency. Being consistent at your job, your career, your occupation, with your own mental health. It is June, Men's Mental Health Month. We have to be consistent with that. If you've made a commitment, another C, to someone, be consistent in that commitment. Show some integrity, loyalty. Be consistent in that. If you picked a woman to make them feel special, you have the desire for a specific person, be consistent. You see that some of our young black men are struggling. They ain't got no options after high school. Trapping, scamming. You seen that video? Trapping, scamming, FL Studio, and I see so many reactions and stitches to brothers my age, maybe even younger, just saying, "Bro, what? You got more options than that." But you can give them those options, but if they're not consistent with it, then what? You can squander a lot of opportunities with a lack of consistency. I've been guilty of it. I have to continue to stay consistent with my message, even through here. If I want to reach people, I can't be bogged down by what doesn't work one time or a couple times or 2 or 3, 4 times. We got to remain consistent. It is crucial, another C. Anyway, man, that's 2. 3, class. Now, we get on our sisters a lot about class and what they should be wearing and what they shouldn't be wearing. And I'm not going to get into all that. I'm going to keep it positive and I'm going to keep a light on us. At some point, and I hate to be brash and excuse my language, my nigga, you got to grow up, dog. And I ain't talking about you can't wear certain things, but your mindset got to change, bro. Your mindset got to change. I see a lot of brothers that are too uncomfortable with being alone. You don't always need a woman to go lay up with. You don't. In a lot of spaces we're in, we don't need to be laying up with nobody but the Lord. Or whoever it is that you believe in. I'm not trying to put my life on you, my faith on yours. But we got to have some class about ourselves. This right here got to change, man. We got to grow up. And once we grow up, it's you become class personified. But again, I'm not talking about necessarily what you were. It's time and place for everything. You don't need to wear Nike Tech everywhere. Your suit needs to be tailored. You need to have different options for different spaces. You can't wear sneakers everywhere. They ain't got to be designer. They really don't, champ. I promise you. You really don't need that. But you need options. You need to know about hobbies that don't include where you're going to run into somebody 10 years younger than you. You need to stop looking for mentorship and start becoming a mentor. At some point, you've learned enough. And you need to start giving back. Let me take that back. You can never learn enough. But what you've learned, you should share. Just to be honest, man. Class. If you're going to have your lady out and you want to take her out, I know y'all got the smell good. Y'all got the jewelry. We got everything going on. But outfit-wise, let's grow up, man. Post 30. You need to have a little more in your bag, man. Let's get in your bag, man, when it comes to class, when it comes to your entertainment. Because you don't need to be worried about what they play at the club. You don't. Allow me to hop off that soapbox for just 1 second to give y'all another word of the day with Scotty V. And the word for today is aw. Again, the word for today is aw. Aw is an exclamation used to express protest or sympathy. Now, it's a very common phrase, common exclamation, usually to insist some kind of stuffification sometime, disappointment, or a feeling of overwhelming emotion. See, saying ah really isn't a problem. In most contexts, you see a cute baby, you see somebody get engaged, you see the bride walking down the aisle, if you're Kendrick Lamar, no, I'm playing. Anyway, where becomes a problem is when you use it sometimes with men like me, and I'm only going to speak for myself. When I'm being vulnerable, genuinely, the last thing I want to hear is, you killed the moment. Oh, it's gone, baby. I was trying to be sweet, and you ruined it. Baby, I love you. That will work. Thank you so much. When you say, you kind of just, I don't know, it gives me the ick. Is an ick for me. Again, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. Now, you see your man and he's with his boys and you decide to pull out your camera and take a picture of their bonding, brotherly, loving moment. Look at them. We don't need that. Unnecessary. When you tell somebody a beautiful story about how in love you are, and I don't care if you're a man or a woman, the last thing you want to hear is, it sounds condescending. It sounds like you're trying to patronize me. That's the last thing we want, man. Okay? Anybody, but more specifically, man, this man. Again, I'm not going to speak for any man but myself. Is a vibe killer. It really is. Just be conscious about how you pull out. Sometimes don't nobody want to hear that shit. Let me be emotionally available, vulnerable, and let's move on. I mean, there's a whole bunch of ways you can show that really moved you. But we gonna go ahead and move on. Last C. The last C. Confidence. Confidence, my brothers. We are lacking that. So many videos being made about the approach, the cold approach. An approach I was raised on. Now, I don't want to be an old head, but that's exactly what I am now, man. Post 30, that's exactly what I am. I'm an old head. I didn't get to DM girls. We had our MySpace messages, but we ain't get to. You had to actually know the girl to get her to be your friend. The cold approach is what I was raised on. Not just in school, in the mall, at the movies, anywhere. But that took confidence. It took little confidence in what you were driving, what you were wearing, but more confidence in yourself. You had to believe she was going to like you. Otherwise, she didn't believe she should. You got to have confidence, man. I mean, we're not going to be able to do nothing in this life if we don't have confidence. And I'm speaking to myself. I maybe was confident when I was talking to girls, but it's a lot of places, a lot of rooms I've been in where I haven't been as confident. I have. I feel like a stowaway. Imposter syndrome is real, especially when you're in rooms that you feel like you may not be prepared for. It's something we have to take serious, man. It's something that we really need to survive out here, especially as men, and more specifically, as I always say, black men. If they don't believe in you, pick your feet up, shake it off, and move on to the next. Look, not every lady's gonna like your approach. They not gonna like your look. They're not gonna like your lingo. They gonna like nothing about you. Move on, man. Don't take it to heart. In fact, how you take rejection shows your confidence. How you take rejection is a great representation of your confidence. Baby, you don't like it, and that's okay. Somebody else will. It's really so simple, y'all. Have confidence in your faith. Have confidence in your walk, in your talk. And live it, man. Don't be overconfident. But man, I'm from an era when a group of girls will bust out laughing at you. And as a 15-year-old boy, that could be crippling if you ain't used to it. Shoot or shoot, man. And one thing I was taught when I was younger, shooters have a short-term memory. You can't think about the last miss. You got to believe you're going to make the next one. Confidence. Confidence and not have that imposter syndrome when you walk in these rooms after that promotion. You deserve to be there. Confidence. Nah, you couldn't shop at the designer stores. But you can put an outfit together. You have to have confidence in it though, man. It don't mean nothing if you ain't confident in what you're doing. It means little to nothing, man. Let's be confident in what we're doing, fellas. Really, like, really and truly. Not no false, none of that false bullshit, man. For real. Excuse my language. Be confident, y'all. You're enough. I promise you're enough. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. Again, I appreciate you for rocking with me. We're going to talk about the next episode about black men and their hobbies. I love to read. Of course, I write. I love to work out, but I'm thinking about this PS5, and as soon as I was thinking about this PS5, because my birthday's coming up, I get word that there's a PS6 in the works. And you know how mad I would be if I got a PS5 and a PS6 came out in a year? It's throwing me off, G. It's completely throwing me off, but we're going to talk about hobbies. We're going to talk about how important male friendships are to us, how we need to cultivate them better. I know I'm one of those guys who feel like, man, I ain't got to talk to my partners that much for them to know I love them. But as I'm getting older, I believe that, man, you never know what will happen. And the last thing I want is to find out something happened to some of the brothers that I really love and I ain't talked to them in 6 months. So we're going to talk about cultivating them. But of course, again, man, thank y'all for rocking with me. Smash that subscribe button. Follow me on all my social medias. Scotty V, that's with a K and with a V. You dig what I'm saying? Welcome to Rosedale Park. We coming strong all summer. Pause. And like always, man, be on the lookout for what I got coming. Another pause. I'm out, man. Peace.